Sorry about that, guys. My live was acting up. Maybe it was because I was too far away from the Wi-Fi setting. But anyway, again, somebody asked me one of the other reasons why I came up with the Whistler. Well, there's a couple of reasons I came up with the Whistler. You know, I'm not necessarily a writer as much of. I'd like to be an actor, but you know, I came up with the Whistler when I was in the shower. I got out of the shower. I had a life-changing experience January 22nd of last year. And as I was getting out of the shower, my mirror was all fogged up. So I kind of like took my hand and wiped it across the mirror, and I saw my face, and I said, who is that guy? And I realized something was wrong, but right afterwards, I got diagnosed with PTSD. And I said, wow, I said, that explains a lot. Because I had just written The Whistler. And you know, it was weird. I wrote The Whistler having been diagnosed with PTSD and didn't even know I had PTSD at the point. But now looking back, I'm looking at The Whistler saying, wow, you know, PTSD is a serious thing. And that's one of the ways I came up with The Whistler. It was completely by accident, being PTSD and all. But I wrote it also on the set of Cold when we were filming Cold with Rob Hawk and Felice Herrig. That was a pretty cool time, but it was cold. But I wrote it in the car. But in my mind, when I wrote The Whistler, I didn't picture myself. I basically escaped myself, and I made myself a different person. And I wrote a whole bunch of characters, and it was pretty cool because I got to be all these different characters. And I mean, from my perspective, I got to escape myself. But I did. I wrote The Whistler having PTSD, and it's a little scary to think about, but it's a manageable issue. And I felt like PTSD don't have enough light shed onto it, and I decided to write it, but I put a big twist in there. You know, serial killer in the city. Blaine is an awesome fit for this. There's a girl, Nellie. She's an actress, and I happened to see her. My first time seeing her was on the set of Fight Valley, and she was in the bar. And you know, my wife, she was like, "Her, we could use her." And yeah, Amanda immediately, like when I wrote this movie and I wrote these characters, Amanda immediately jumped like, "Bing! I have an idea." I said, "What's that?" She goes, "We're gonna get Nellie. We're gonna use Nellie." And I said, "Oh, all right." But yes, Amanda is pretty much the brains of the operation now. It just went from my hands from writing it. But we have another question. Who is Detective Hall? Detective Hall, let's see, as a character, you didn't pretty much tell me, ask me, like, what actor is he, or what's his character, so I'll have to give you both. Detective Hall is Stafford Chavis, you know, awesome dude, Eagles player, retired New York City detective, awesome guy all around. He's actually one of the best people I met. But as the character goes, Detective Hall is K9. You know, he's a seasoned detective. He's been around everything. He's seen everything you could possibly see, being a police officer. Been in the force for over 30 years, and he's pretty much the head honcho, just one step under the chief. And then you got Officer Tipper. Officer Tipper is the normal cop. He's the kind of guy who takes everything like, okay, this is what I got to do. You know, he's the serious player. He's going to go by the rules 100% of the time. And then you have Officer Leak. Officer Leak is probably one of my favorite roles. You know, he's not level-headed at all. He's a hothead. He just wants to just bring the guy in and smack him on the table and start questioning. And that's good. Detective Leak is going to be one of my favorite roles. I mean, I wish I could play it, but I'm not a cop, and I'm not an actor to be a cop or a Detective Leak, for Officer Leak. And then you have Luke. Luke has been through a lot. Yeah, Luke's big trauma happened before he enlisted into the military. His job was to watch after his sister. And pretty much I would say he failed. He failed, and when he finds an escape, he takes the escape. But is that escape good for him? I don't know. I wrote, like I said, I wrote this thing when I wasn't in the best mind. But looking back at the storyline, it just shocks me. It shocks 100% out of me that I actually wrote it, and it's pretty cool. And then you have Mary. Mary's the sister. She's the good girl. She's going to college. She's going to become something of herself, and pretty much she's upset that the situation has fallen upon her, that she can't accomplish her dreams now because she's too busy watching out for her brother. And then you have the doctor. Oh, the doctor. Oh, the doctor. I love the doctor. Psychiatrist. He's a very normal, strong-headed man. And what if questions don't work with him. What if is what if. And now is now. But the doctor is such a mysterious character to me. You know, even I wrote the thing, and even when I was writing the doctor's parts, it was still mysterious to me. And I want to leave this whole thing as a surprise to you. So I want to stop talking about the doctor. The doctor is amazing. I'm going to stop talking about all the characters. And what I'm going to talk about now is what I want all you guys to do is I want you guys to take your time out, take maybe 5 seconds out of your life, and think about all the U.S. veterans that you have known, whether they're alive or they have passed away. And I want you guys to message them to us on the Whistler page. We want to put a shout-out page on the Whistler to all the U.S. military vets who lost their lives, you know, whether afar or home, whether from PTSD or, you know, natural causes. But we definitely want to put a shout-out page on there. If you are a U.S. veteran, or you know a U.S. veteran who'd like to take a part in a project, feel free to send them our way. We're still working with a couple product placement slots. We don't have many left. We have a few. But I'm sure if you're involved with the U.S. military, we could fit you in there somewhere. And our next project after the Whistler is actually a story that's somewhat near and dear to me. I don't know if you guys know about my nationality, but my family's Armenian, and in 1915 there was a Armenian genocide. So we're going to be writing a movie called A Million Deaths, and pretty much I want to highlight what happened during the Armenian genocide. But back to the Whistler. One more question, and I gotta go. Will we be selling set passes? No. No set passes for sale. I can't do that. Okay. One more. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone while I'm doing this thing too. I'm not going to answer that question. That's a dirty one. But The Whistler, again, it's a PTSD drama thriller. It takes place in modern day. Luke White enlists in the military, comes home not the same man. Pretty much, that's the gist of it. I will be back on later on today to answer a few more questions. I have some questions I have to answer for a couple sponsors of ours. And that's around 4:30. I'll be back on at 4:30. And hey, you guys stay cool, and please share this with all your military veterans. Thanks.